welcome to my views and news. Today's third video, main news story is from southern front, where Tigray forces have withdrawn from main cities in Wollo like Koborobit, Kobo, Gobiye. Where are the front lines? Because heavy airstrikes are being reported on this front. Ethiopian National Defense Force is trying to stop Tigray forces from setting up defense lines on this front. Where is TDF trying to set up defense lines on southern Tigray front? Secondly, viewers, a journalist arrested a few days ago has been released, and some others have been formally charged today in Ethiopia. And thirdly, US Africa Command 2 hours ago released a statement confirming the killing of an Al-Shabaab commander in Somalia. Who is this commander? Was he killed by US airstrikes or by Somalia's forces in a ground operation? Firstly, viewers, Tigray forces, we know that are withdrawing from Gobiye, Koborobit and Kobo. They have already withdrawn from Gobiye, from Koborobit and Kobo as well, because we have seen videos, pictures of Fano fighters from Kobo. It means Koborobit and Gobiye, then Zobel, Fokisa, and other areas like Bilago to the west of these places are under END of Amhara control. Now, where are front lines? Where is Tigray Defense Force trying to set up defensive positions? Where is it trying to hold ground? Firstly, what we have learnt is that Gra Kassu is under heavy airstrikes. For the last 12 hours, heavy airstrikes are being conducted. Airstrikes and drone strikes on Gra Kassu. Gra Kassu, you can say, is the place between Alamata and Koram. Koram is on top of a mountain, high place, and Alamata is at the foot of this high place. Then to the south of Alamata, there is flat area like Vaja, which is on Tigray Amhara border, flat terrain. Ongoing fighting is near Vaja, which is on Tigray Amhara border. But reportedly, Tigray forces are trying to deploy their military assets on Gra Kassu, on high place in and near Koram. It's difficult to defend Alamata, but if you have your artillery pieces and your long range weapons on Gra Kassu, then attackers trying to reach Alamata can be hit. So that is why Tigray forces on the one hand are trying to stop Amhara forces ENDF in Vaja and close to Vaja. On the other hand, Tigray forces are making preparations in case of a withdrawal or retreat from Vaja, and they are deploying their troops, their heavy weapons on Gra Kassu. That is why heavy airstrikes are underway. Ethiopian National Defense Force wants to conduct airstrikes on Gra Kassu because obviously it is very clear that ENDF Amhara forces they want to move towards Alamata. They'll not just sit in the Amhara region in Wollo. And if they want to capture southern Tigray, obviously there are two routes. Either they'll have to come from Sikota or from Vaja. So far, front line is Vaja, but heavy airstrikes on Gra Kassu, and they'll try to move towards Koram from Sikota side as well. Both roads leading to Koram from Sikota and from Alamata are through mountains, high places. So it's difficult to make inroads into southern Tigray either from western side or from southern side, but reportedly airstrikes will be followed by ground offensives. It seems that ENDF Amhara forces will try to make a move on southern Tigray. That is why these airstrikes are being conducted, because ENDF does not want Tigray forces to organize themselves in Gra Kassu. Secondly, viewers, some journalists are being released, some are being formally charged, mostly arrested a few days or weeks ago. Mostly were arrested in the Amhara region who were speaking for the Amhara people. Abe Zaido is a journalist of Amhara Media Center, arrested around more than a month ago. I think he was arrested. Today he was released from prison. You can see his picture on your screen. Secondly, 3 other journalists, 2 journalists and 1 writer, were formally charged today by prosecutors. Miaza Muhammad, Gobaze Sesse and Asaya Derbe, who is a writer, all 3 have been formally charged by prosecutors during court proceedings. They are being charged with spreading propaganda, misinformation and disclosing the position of Ethiopian National Defense Force. These journalists have been criticizing Ethiopian federal and regional forces, especially regarding the killings of ethnic Amharas in Valaga. So whoever is speaking in Ethiopia, especially in the Amhara region, is being arrested. Fano fighters, activists, journalists, whoever is questioning Ethiopian government's operation against Fano and killings of ethnic Amharas in Valaga are being arrested and charged with offenses. Lastly, viewers, Somalia, where US Africa Command has confirmed an airstrike in Jilib. Jilib is a stronghold of Al-Shabaab, around 350 kilometers away from Mogadishu. In Jilib, this airstrike was conducted. US Africa Command says that a top Al-Shabaab commander was killed. Last night, Somalia's government claimed that in an operation, Al-Shabaab commander Abdullahi Nadir had been killed by Somalia's forces. US Africa Command did not make a mention of the name of Al-Shabaab commander who was killed in Jilib in a US airstrike. It seems that Abdullahi Nadir was killed by US in the airstrike, not by Somalia's government forces operation. Abdullahi Nadir was one of the co-founders of Al-Shabaab with $3 million US head money. Somalia's government has confirmed his death in an operation. It seems that he was killed in the airstrike. Secondly, as I reported in 2 previous videos today, that Beledweyne in Hiran region, Hirsha Valley, was targeted today by Al-Shabaab fighters. 3 explosions, 2 car explosions, car bombs went off outside Hiran regional government's headquarters, and 1 attack was carried out outside main hospital in Heran. Around 9 casualties are being confirmed, dozens have been injured. So we are seeing that US Africa Command, African Union troops, regional forces, federal forces, all are trying to contain Al-Shabaab. Al-Shabaab response is deadly. Al-Shabaab is trying to hit government officials. It is trying to hit top leadership of military and political leadership, because leadership is commanding this operation. That is why target killings are underway. Tribal elders are being targeted, police officers, army officers are being targeted, politicians, government officials are being targeted. So it's a testing time for Somalia's political and military leadership, because they are being targeted by Al-Shabaab. Al-Shabaab is not carrying out attacks on civilians. Those civilians are dying as well. But the purpose of these attacks is to stop military and political leadership from continuing this offensive on Al-Shabaab. So far, government led by Hassan Sheikh says it will not step back. It will continue, it will intensify the operation against Al-Shabaab. Thank you for watching.